A good number have come through. Karibuni sana. And tonight we are talking about an ambidextrous entrepreneur. An ambidextrous entrepreneur. Ambidextrous entrepreneur. And so I want to start by quickly looking at the intro or understanding what is that animal we are calling an ambidextrous entrepreneur. Now, the ambidextrous entrepreneur is not a new term. It has been there for quite some time. And the word ambidextrous is derived from the Latin roots, abi, which means both, and dexter, meaning right or favorable, right? So ambidextrous comes from those two Latin words, abi and dexter, meaning both right or favorable. And so that's ambidextrous, therefore means both right or both favorable. Now, when we talk about an ambidextrous person, we are talking about someone who can use his or her both hands at the same time. Someone who can use his or her both hands at the same time. Now, there are people who can easily draw with the right and the left hand at the same time without making mistakes. That means their brains, both of their brain sides are operating simultaneously. And so there's something like an ambidextrous entrepreneur. If there's an ambidextrous person, there's an ambidextrous entrepreneur or ambidextrous organizations. And that's what I want to explore today. So who is an ambidextrous entrepreneur? Ambidexterity in entrepreneurship is a balance between explorations and exploitations. Ambidexterity in entrepreneurship is a balance between exploration and exploitation. Now, when we talk about exploration and exploitation, definitely means that an entrepreneur who has an ambidextrous mind or ambidextrous ability, he is able to explore and exploit at the same time, all right? Explore and exploit at the same time. And so when you have the ability to explore and exploit at the same time, we call you an ambidextrous entrepreneur, an ambidextrous entrepreneur. And I'm coming to this thing about exploration and exploitation, all right? Now, this is important. The exploration of new possibilities and the exploitation of the existing circumstances is what we are talking about ambidexterity. So when you have the ability to explore and to exploit, to explore new possibilities and exploit existing circumstances or existing situations, existing resources, then that is the ability to operate like an ambidextrous entrepreneur. Now, don't forget that there are people also who are one-handed or one-sided. If you are one-sided, that means you can only do one thing at a time because your brain is one-sided. Your brain is one-sided. And now, it doesn't mean if you are an ambidextrous entrepreneur, you must be a double-minded person. No, it's a term which refers to operations. It's a term that refers to your ability to operate. And the ability to operate here is the ability to explore and exploit at the same time. The ability to explore and exploit at the same time. Let me use other terminologies. If you are a hunter, it is the ability to hunt and shoot at the same time, all right? Or collect, pick, drop, and pick at the same time, drop and pick at the same time. So if you have that ability to balance the two without dropping one or missing out on one, then you are playing at the ambidextrous level. An entrepreneur that is efficient in management of today's business and also adaptable to coping with tomorrow's changing demand becomes ambidextrous. So if you can run your business, and because I came up with this topic because of the season we are in right now. We are in a season of COVID-19. And the truth of the matter is we do not know how long this situation will remain. We are all praying for it to end as soon as tomorrow. But in case it continues or it tarries, then we need to have the ability to operate our businesses at the current situation, make them sustainable at the current situation or the current times, and still be able to envision what we had envisioned before. Because it's very important. And so many people, like I'm going to share tonight, are not able to balance the two, People find themselves caught up in between making a decision on which one to go for. All right. And entrepreneurs can be defined as ambidextrous when they continuously balance between being fast and creative and productive. Fast and creative, then productive. That means if you can be fast and creative, but not forgetting the day-to-day productivity, then you are operating at the ambidextrous level. So many people are fast and creative, but as they run fast to be creative, they forget on how to be productive on a day-to-day basis. Others are very productive on a day-to-day basis, but they are not able to explore the future. So the future comes too fast before they get ready because they were busy taking care of today's activities. That is not only in business, but also in other affairs of life. There are people who are busy taking care of today's needs and today's problems that they forget to plan for tomorrow. And when you are not able to take care of today's needs and still be able to plan for tomorrow and be able to balance too, then you are not operating at the dexterity level. So this is very, very critical. All right, let's look at this. Now, how do you exploit? Sorry, there's a typo there. How do you exploit and explore at the same time? How do you exploit and explore at the same time? Now, to exploit is to make full use of and derive benefit from a resource. To exploit is to make full use of and derive benefit from a resource. Now, let me just say this as we continue. Everybody has been given something at hand right now by God. It's a gift, it's a talent, it's a business idea, it's people that are working with you. Those are resources. It's some amount of money. It's anything that you can reach out now and make use of it. That is a resource right there. Now, sometimes we sit and dream of what we do not have, forgetting to explore what we have now. And that is where many people remain in poverty, while others start small with the resources they can see now and they grow big. That is the ability to exploit. You may not sit there and lament of what you do not have. You may have to arise and pick up something that you have now and be able to use it as a resource. So to exploit is to make full use. Please remember, it's about the full use, making full use of and deriving benefit from the resources that we have. That is exploitation. So now I've just taken this image to show you that within you, within your house, within your reach, there are things you can get out. Within your office right now, within your house right now, within the reach of your friends, within the reach of your uncles, your aunties, your parents, there's something that you can call a resource that you can start with. An ambidextrous entrepreneur needs to exploit the resources that are within his reach. What is to explore? To explore is to travel through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it, all right? When you are able to explore or to travel through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it, then you are exploring. That means you do not remain in exploitation only, because an ambidextrous entrepreneur, we have said, should be able to do these two things at the same time. These two things at the same time. And this is why I have this talk to you tonight, because there is something we can do right now during the season of COVID-19 that we cannot keep on crying that there's no money, people are losing jobs, and all that is happening. It is true, it's happening, and I sympathize. But I want to challenge everybody that is here that you cannot sit and cry. There's an opportunity right where you're seated and crying from. And if you're able to exploit, but not only exploit, keep your dreams alive, keep your exploration alive, keep thinking what will happen tomorrow, then you can become an ambidextrous entrepreneur. So now, every modern entrepreneur, all right, finds themselves faced by this dilemma. Every modern entrepreneur, and I want to say this: it is not easy to find a ambidextrous entrepreneur. They are not easy to find. And the question that people ask themselves is, do I explore new venture, new market, new product? And like now, some companies are caught up in the whole mix. Things have gone bad and you have to close businesses. And the question is, do I close this business and start a new one? Or do I still run this business or wait for it to come back after COVID-19 and still do something that I can do for now as I wait for what I'm supposed to be doing to come back? And that question lingers in the minds of many people. Do we start a new product? All right, the story of the Kitui textile factory, which was able to switch immediately to making of masks, and they could still maintain what they were doing, but be able to tap into this opportunity. Now, that is ambidexterity. If you are able to explore new opportunities, but still maintain what you have, then you are becoming a strong entrepreneur. The other question entrepreneurs ask themselves is, do I exploit the talent or career I have, or do you explore a new one? People that are in career, area, all right? Let me just kindly get someone's hand lifted. I need to pause and get this. All right, Ashitiva, please, if you can go ahead and say something. Hello, Ashitiva, can you hear me? All right. All right, Ashitiva, I've unmuted you. Go ahead, please. Okay, maybe it was by mistake. All right, I'll give people time to ask their questions or, share opinions and ideas. So I'm talking about ambidextrous entrepreneurs, and I've just gone through the introduction. Because of time, of course, I have to keep time. Sorry for those that have joined late. You'll be able to catch up even as we continue, but I'll do a wrap up before I end the talk. So right now, I was talking about how you can be able to exploit your own resources. Now, do I exploit? The question is, do I exploit the new talent or career that I have, or do you explore a new one? These are questions of dilemma. These are questions of dilemma. And many entrepreneurs right here, some of you are in service provision, some of you are employed, some of you are running other businesses, manufacturing businesses, and all that. I know you are faced by this dilemma, but I am presenting this topic to you because sometimes it's good to make a change, but it's also good to explore. Is that change timely? And do I need to change while holding on the other right-hand options to keep what I have? Because even change right now may not be resourceful as much. You may want to make a change and that change does not materialize. So what happens if you are not able to maintain the change or to do what you wanted to do? Then you may need to maintain what you have. Now, there's always a temptation to desire the pasture on the other side because it looks greener, especially on career growth. And also with entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs right now will be thinking about switching, which is very good. But even before you switch, I want you to think about this topic well keenly and think about that switch. Is it timely? Is it something that you have actually thought through? Because I'm going to give you examples of how you can explore this. When do you strike the balance between exploration and exploitation? We have said exploitation is your ability to explore, to exploit the resources or to make full use of resources that are available right now. Whether those resources are your career or your education, your certificate, your talent, whatever you have that you can make use of right now, that is an opportunity to exploit. Exploration is your ability to explore other ventures or other avenues, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about the changes that are happening, and still be able to balance the two. We have said that ambidexterity is your ability to do the two at the same time without forgetting one. Because I said, many a time people do one and they forget the other. And when you do one and forget the other, there's a danger, even as there's a danger of not being able to do two. So I'm going to give examples to that. I'm just giving you the foundation. Now, let's look at the dimension of exploration. The dimension of exploration. How do you go about it? The vast majority of entrepreneurs focus on either dimension, but those that manage to excel in both are rare, like I said. Explorative entrepreneurs emphasize on speed and creativity and possess capabilities that enable anticipation, innovation, and adaptation. So if you're going to explore, which is very important, and right now I challenge every entrepreneur, and even if you've been trained on a particular field, for example, you're a medical doctor, it may not be very easy to change from who you are right now, or even in any near future, but you are able to change a few things or explore new options of doing what you're doing. If you're a lawyer, if you are a trainer like me, if you are a coach like me, if you're doing fitness and health coaching and all that, there's a way you can explore options within what you are doing and see how can it work in a different way. But now, remember what I'm warning about tonight is that shift without holding on to what you have already and making use of it. Because change, a quick change or an immediate change without holding what you have could be actually disastrous to your own career or entrepreneurship. So you need to be able to explore, to be innovative, to adopt new ways of doing business. If you have to go online, go online. If you have to reach out to your customers, in any means, if you have to go and attend your customers at their homes, or like what the law courts have done, you're able to run your court sessions online. Whichever way it happens, exploration right now is inevitable. And every entrepreneur must explore options and ways they can do their thing or their business in a better way. These entrepreneurs develop attributes such as insight and foresight. You need to look inside and look outside. You need to be able to look at things from the inner part, the inner side of your business, the inner part of your career, and be able to tell yourself, where am I and what am I supposed to do? Then you need inspiration and passion, and then trial and error. The thing about exploration is there's a lot of trial and error, because I want to say this now and again, that we do not know how long COVID-19 will take. We do not know how long this situation will lead. And even after we come out of it, how long will our economy take to recover? How long will it take for us to go back to normal, for us to go back to normal gatherings? And I know I have pastors online here. How long will it take for you to be able to hold that huge, crusades and gathering and church meetings? So exploration for every person is inevitable. And you have to be, one, have attributes of insight and foresight. You must be inspired to explore those new options and passionate about it. Then you have to try. And if you don't get it right, then try it again, because it's a trial and error. All right, that's about exploration. Organizations that engage in exploration to the exclusion of exploitation, of course, are likely to find that they suffer the cost of experimentation, but without gaining many of its benefits. Like I said, you cannot do exploration without also being exploitative. You need to balance the two. You need to balance the two. And let me look at the area of exploitation. How do you exploit as you explore at the same time? Exploitative entrepreneurs, on the contrary, excel in the scale and productivity dimension. Many people, like I said, they are dreamers who are so explorative. There are others who are so exploitative. And sometimes when you are running an organization or a company, sometimes people clash because of those two. There are people who are wired to be exploitative, others are wired to be explorative. And when the two meet, and I'm going to give a very good example, when the two meet in the same organization, most of the time they collide because of opinions. Because one of them wants us to stay here, build what we have, and make it better. The other person says, no, we cannot stay here. We have to explore options of doing other things or doing things differently. And so if there's no agreement, and if you're two partners and there's no agreement on how you can explore the two and balance the exploration and exploitation, then you may have issues with your organization. As an entrepreneur, you also need to balance it. So you don't spend all your time exploiting or exploring, and then you forget one and you end into issues. Such entrepreneurs that are exploitative demonstrate, strong capabilities when it comes to planning, as well as optimization and control. They develop attributes such as formalization, compliance, controlling, and monitoring, history and experience. And some of you listening to me, you are in that area where you want to be so formal with your business. You want to perfect it, make it excellent, make it awesome, all right? But then you're caught up in between and you're not sure. I was building this to be an excellent idea, an excellent dream, but then COVID-19 came without a notice, and I'm not able to build on this dream because things have changed. All right, and that's why as an entrepreneur, you must have the two sides of the brain of an entrepreneur: exploit and explore. You want to monitor, you want to control, but then as the more you control, the more you're not able to grow because you are looking at things from one side. Entrepreneurs or organizations capable of exploiting their existing competencies while simultaneously exploring new opportunities are ambidextrous. So now, this is how the brain of an ambidextrous entrepreneur looks like. This is how the brain looks like. And when I say the brain, please remember, I'm not talking about a typical brain. I'm talking about the operational brain of an entrepreneur. This is how you should think. This is how you should look at life. This is how you should look at your destiny as an entrepreneur. On the right side, you need to be explorative. On the other side, you need to be exploitative. So an exploitative entrepreneur will look at evolution, corporate. They want to be corporate, they want to control and monitor, they want to scale, they want to cause and effect, optimize and control cost. But on the other side of the same entrepreneur, and because an entrepreneur may not have the luxury of employing two people who think differently, you have to think the same way, as one person. So on your right side of exploration, you need revolution. You need to start up. You need other startups or other ventures. You need trial and error. You have to keep trying. You don't give up. Many people who are exploitative and not explorative, they control and they are risk averse. When you're too risk averse, then you cannot do trial and error. These are people who say, I will not risk my 2 shillings or my 20 million because I want to hold on to what I have. But then when life hits you hard, like it has right now done to many people, then you realize it was good to explore a few options. You need speed. An explorative entrepreneur needs speed. Speed because there may be no luxury of time to do so many trials and so many, control measures and all that. Many people, and especially the elite, they have an issue of having speed of execution. And the biggest challenge or disconnect between strategy and achievement is execution. If you do not have speed of execution as an entrepreneur, the faster you think, the faster you act. You realize that before you act, things have changed and you have to keep changing and adjusting. And so if you are going to operate like an ambidextrous entrepreneur, then you have to be able to develop speed of execution. Then explorative people do not just cause an effect, they cause an effect. They cause an effect. You shift things. You become a mover. You don't wait for things to move for you to act. Because when you are too conservative with the actions, then you cannot cause an effect. You wait until people test the waters for you to step in. An explorative entrepreneur steps in even when nobody has sailed through that line. And I'm going to show you, for example, Equity Bank. Equity Bank came when every other bank was operating at the level of, the working class, the bankable people with the payslip, people with, good income and all that. And what they do, when they came to the market, they went to the common mwananchi, the person riding a bicycle, the mama boga in the streets. and they became the bank for the common mwananchi. What happened? Few years later, every other bank, including Barclays, and I'm sorry to make mention of names because it's good to give examples. Even Barclays realized that this class we have been targeting is very small. The high net worth individuals in this class are very few. So what do? Let's try what Equity has tried. By the time they came here, Equity had already controlled the market. And that is very important. That's why you don't need to keep on controls and be exploitative only. You need to be explorative because life changes and things can change very fast. They create an explorative entrepreneur, create new market, create new opportunities, create things that are not fair. You come up with crazy ideas, try them. If they fail, fine. If they succeed, you are a winner. Because before anybody transferred money through a mobile phone, nobody had started. There was someone willing to try it, and that is a creation of a new market or creating a new way of doing things. And anybody who is a serious entrepreneur here, no matter which area you're in, you must create new ways of doing things. And that's why you should sleep awake if you can. If there's a word like that, keep awake to make sure that you create new ways of doing things. Whether you are going to be doing your legal services through mobile phone or YouTube or Facebook or wherever, you have to do something, because people that are able to explore new ways, they have to do it in whichever way. A dentist, someone told me they can attend to me even from my house. They can come here and pluck my tooth and give me services. Why? Because these services are now no longer going to be sought after in hospitals. People have to explore ways that they can attend to their customers and make things work. Then they break through. Once you create ways, an explorative entrepreneur breaks through. Please remember, it is dangerous for you to do one and forget the other. While the explorative entrepreneur is important, he still needs to maintain his controls. He still needs to be corporate. He still needs to evolve. He still needs to do scale up. He still needs to do optimization and cost control. And that's why I'm calling it adaptability, because this is critical for entrepreneurs at this moment. Let me give examples, because I just want to give 2 examples and then I'll be able to bring this to a close. A company called Ericsson, all right? Ericsson, I want to give you an example of how they were too explorative and they forget to be exploitative, and what happened, all right? What happened to them? Now, these are a very well-known company. What they did is they developed a department of research and development, and they employed 30,000 employees at more than 100 centers for exploring new businesses, new options. That's what Ericsson did, 2002, 2001, 2003. Now, what happened is it resulted into duplication of work. Their strong focus was on exploration, research. What was happening? They moved too much on research work and they forgot the controls. They forgot the other side of the brain of an entrepreneur. So what happened? The results went into deep decline, and they laid off 60,000 employees and closed most of its technology centers. This is what happens when you become too explorative and you forget the exploitation bit. Why? Because while you are opening up new markets, you need to keep your controls. And this is very critical. Now, that is Ericsson. The other people that we dearly know and dearly love are called the Apple company. Now, the Apple company, of course, you guys know about Steve Jobs. Now, I want to give you a story about what Steve Jobs did and how they went about this. Their story has 2 options. Their story has an example of exploitation, and then they started with exploration, they went to exploitation, then they came back to exploitation and exploration. And let me show you how. Now, in 1976, the Apple company was founded by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. These guys, within 1 month, they produced 200 computers, all right? In 1978, they launched the Apple II and became a 1 billion organization. If you can look at the day of launch and the day of becoming a 1 billion organization, that is merely 2 years. In 1980, these guys launched a successful IPO as a market leader. Now, here comes the game changer. In 1980, IBM entered the market and Apple's market share dropped. In 1985, Apple removed Jobs. If you know the story, and why they removed Jobs is because they brought in another CEO who his name is Scully, and Scully was brought in to do exploitation. Because what Apple thought is Steve Jobs was too explorative and he was not exploitative. Now, I'm going to show you, and maybe we'll continue this even after some other time, how Steve Jobs is a true example of ambidexterity. In 1989, okay, in 1989, Apple was nearly, between 89 and 97, Apple was almost written off. Why? When Scully came in and Steve Jobs left, what happened is Scully concentrated on exploitation, cost controls, becoming a corporate, making sure things are running, processes, systems here, which are very important and very critical. Please remember, I'm not ruling out one. I'm talking about the balance of the two. So in 1998, when Apple was almost collapsing, they had to make a decision to bring back Steve Jobs. Why? Because Scully was not an ambidextrous entrepreneur. He was a CEO. He was a control guy. He was a process guy. This person was just, let's put controls, let's exploit what we have now. No need of thinking of other things. Look at this. When Steve Jobs came in 2003, by 2003 and 8, sales multiplied to 24 billion, and Apple topped Fortune's 500 companies. Now, that is the power of being ambidextrous. When you are able to explore and exploit at the same time. And I want to tell you this, you cannot spend all your days in office making sure controls are done. You are the leader. You are the dream keeper. You are the visionary. You must explore at the same time exploit. You must go out there and hunt. You must go out there and think on how things are, new avenues, new markets can be explored. But at the same time, you must make sure you exploit what you have. I want to say this again. Remember, you may not have 2 employees or 10 employees. You may be the only person I'm talking to. You are the CEO, you are the secretary, you are the accountant, and you have to think about what to do. Now, before I close, let's talk about this man, Steve Jobs. How was he an ambidextrous man, and what can we learn from him? I don't want to bore you with this story because I know you know it. One, he was a persuasive and charismatic evangelist of the company, or for the company. He was able to talk about it. He was noisy about Apple. He made noise, about the products that he was developing. He was the person who spoke at the launch. Every time they were launching a new product, it was Steve Jobs who made the loudest noise. And he was able, not only that, he was able to market the brand. By no means is Steve Jobs a normal boss, someone said, within the company. He is in the farm, the spirit is alive, and he's always present. Now, that is the kind of entrepreneur I'm talking about. Look here. In 1984, Jobs' working relationship with the CEO, John Scully, caused deterioration. How? Because Scully wanted to kill the exploration, while Jobs knew exploration was important. But now the good thing about it is, look at this. Jobs was always driven by the energy to change the world with exciting new products. If you are going to be a winner, if you are going to be a game changer, if you're going to be a billionaire in this market, you must be driven by the excitement to change the world. An ambidextrous entrepreneur has people's hearts with him or with her. You cannot be an 8 to 5 person who doesn't care about the feelings of people. And I'm saying this because it's important. If you want to remain in business, you must do business that matters to people, and you must matter to people. Because if you can be felt by your customers will remain with you. Not because you're doing good business, not because you're having good products, but because they know that you care about them. And that is about you. Whether you're in service provision, whether you're in manufacturing, whatever you do. Remember the Steve Jobs slogan, that he always produced what the people needed, not what he wanted to produce. So I want to challenge you, be ambidextrous. Think about what the people want, serve them from their point of need, but also make sure you grow your corporate image. He was driven by explorative innovation strategies, but Jobs nurtured talent, soft and hardware designers, people that were able to run the operations. Now, if you want to be excellent, and I want you to go and think about yourself, if you're explorative and not exploitative, then you may need to team up with an exploitative person. If you're too exploitative and you can't change yourself, you may need to team up with an explorative person who can grow the business, because both have to work together. And if you are exploitative, someone who wants to keep controls, and you hire someone who wants to explore, don't shut them down. The biggest mistake I've seen many entrepreneurs do is to hold their personality to their personality and think it is the right way of doing business. Your personality has nothing to do with your business. You have to make sure that your personality is below your entrepreneurship. Why? Because you are not selling things to yourself. You are selling the goods or products to people. Now, why am I saying this? Because when Scully came to Apple, he shut Steve Jobs off and he kicked him out. I wish Scully did not kick Steve Jobs out. I wish he worked with him. Apple would not have taken a downside. But when he thought he was not important, as Jobs was not important in the market, in the company, then things went south. Keep the balance. Maintain the balance. If someone wants to explore, please allow them the luxury of exploring, but keep the controls. If people want to control, go out and explore. You have to do the same, two things at the same time as an entrepreneur. Steve Jobs was able to infuse these people with a spirit of aggressiveness. Now, this is not a guy who is going out to market only. He's making sure his guys are psyched up. His guys are making sure business is running. And when he's out there thinking and meeting people who are manufacturing glass, his guys in the office are running business properly. Now, if you do not have people to do that, you have to go out and do the two things at the same time. And may God help you as you do that. Jobs had a frenetic work schedule of 48 hours of straight programming and breaks with a pineapple and pizza generated, which was pizza generated. This is, of course, a sensual comment, but this is something to tell you that Steve Jobs was not just explorative. He was not just the guy who went out there and dreamt of a nice phone, dreamt of how to do to change the market, change the world. He still came back to the office and ran a 48-hour schedule to program and do stuff at the office. You know, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you work for 48 hours. I'm saying balance your life, balance exploration and exploitation, because that is where you make or break your entrepreneurship. If you focus too much on being too smart with your job, on being very clean, being too corporate, being too controlled, if you focus on that and forget your adaptation and innovation, you're going to kill your business, and that is not what you're looking for. Job combined exploration and exploitation at the same time. Next week, I will be talking about what you should do to become an ambidextrous entrepreneur.